All right. Good morning, good evening, everyone. Good to see you here, and welcome to our Authentic Relating game session today. Maybe I don't know if everyone knows me. Some of you, of course, do. But I'm Smitha. I live in New Jersey currently, and I know I spoke a little bit about me in the intro session as well. But if you've missed it, um, so I'll tell you a little bit about, of course, I learned authentic relating through Nitya. And since then, it really caught my attention and it's been something very transformative for me. And that's why I'm sharing this here today. And then I sort of went ahead and joined a lot of the authentic relating movement. It started in the US. So it started in, I think, San Francisco in the 1990s, but the origins are around what they call the human potential movement around 60s and 70s. That's where the origins come from. And yeah, and then there are these different organizations. There's Authrev, there's Relateful. I did their basic, I think they have a authentic life course. I don't know if they still offer that, but that was pretty amazing. And then I did the facilitator or course with them. I think it's called Authentic Leadership Training. So yeah, and after that, I've been hosting a few sessions here and there, and so it's great to be able to offer this here in this community. So that's my journey of authentic relating, and that's how it's come into my life, and it's transformed several aspects of my life. I know I was sharing a little bit in the video if you were able to watch it about how it creates this intimacy with yourself. It brings deep self-awareness about what thoughts are going on, what are the feelings, and also just to be aware of that and then start acknowledging, and then magic happens from there actually. So yeah, just in terms of, to give a simple example, to be able to do a session like this, right? To assume that, or to feel confident to say, yeah, I'm somebody who can offer this, and I have something to share. I feel authentic creating has been a big part about how empowering me to be able to do that, to get rid of self doubt and all of those limiting thoughts that come in. Because as you start noticing, you realize, okay, why am I giving this so much importance, right? And then they just move and drop off. So I'm not saying this is the only modality to do that. Of course, there's been a lot that's come into my life over the last few years, but definitely this is one of the powerful ones. And of course, like I was sharing about building incredible connections, I think all my relationships have just gotten so much deeper because of, I think, mainly because if I am operating from exactly who I am, everything else shows up in that way as well, and there's an opportunity for a much deeper connection. So yeah, that's a little bit about that. Let me share some basic principles and things. Hold on. Okay. So, like we were saying, and again, now when I say it's about being who we are, exactly as we are, I think authentic relating, the beauty is that it's not just about no matter what's going on in our mind, we just dump it out there, right? Like we're also honoring that there is somebody else on the other side, and taking into account and honoring what they are ready for or what they are feeling. So I think it's very empowering in the sense that it's not just about being aware of what's going on within you, but also what's going on with the other person. And so there's this dance that happens, and of course we fail and we learn. And the beauty of authentic relating games is that it creates these structured spaces to build this skill, because you can't just go out in your closest relationships where there may be a lot of triggers and patterns and everything there. So maybe that's not the space where you can directly go and try out this skill. So this creates a safe, like they call it the container, because there are certain principles, there are certain guidelines. So then we're operating within that, and there is a structure around it, and there's a facilitator who's holding space. So it makes it quite comfortable, and yet it's a brave space. So you try and you go into that edge of, okay, I don't usually share this, but what will happen if I share this or if I act in this way, which I usually don't. So you get that experience of stretching or pushing that edge a little bit about who you are and whether if you've been hiding that part of you. So it allows those parts to come out, and then you sort of learn from that, saying, okay, this is how I'm received if I do stretch out in this way. um, and that's why it's that dance of authentic human expression. And it's about getting over that conditioning of either prioritizing just our experience or others experience. I think all of us have some way in which we do one or the other, and so it harmonizes that, and then it brings a lot of aliveness, and there's a lot of intimacy that can be shared. And also, one more, the beautiful part about this is you think, okay, this is a game and I'm learning this here. It slowly and very subtly, of course, comes into everything you do. So they say that there's a benefit of this, not just in our, let's say, even our personal relationships, of course, but also in your business or professional settings. I've seen that this has empowered me to create a different culture within the team, right? Like if there are leaders, the kind of culture you want to create, more inclusive cultures, and supportive, because you're learning the art of letting people be who they are, honoring that, seeing someone for who they are, also being that yourself. So it creates beautiful spaces. So in business and leadership, or as educators, facilitators, if those are some of the roles you play, I think all of that, it really empowers and makes you a much better, operate in a much better way. And yeah, I think that's that. And then that's a little bit of introduction. So the 5 core principles which we will operate with today as well is, one is welcome everything. So your own internal experience and in relation with the other person, right? So everything is welcome. Who you are is completely welcome. So no matter, there's no pressure to feel only happy, only say the right thing. So all of that. So come to this with the mindset of everything is welcome, not only everything about what's going on within you, and also with the other person. And assume nothing. So be curious. I think that's our theme as well today. So, and check assumptions. So we check whether, if I say this is as I see you do this, I'm assuming this about you, and is that true, right? So we don't sort of assume anything. You check whether that's true. And then there is reveal your experience, which is, of course, noticing our experience and feelings and being vulnerable enough to admit it. And there's no pressure to necessarily be vulnerable. It's about whatever your edge is, and if you can push that a bit, right? And even that is your own decision to do, how vulnerable you want to be, what you want to share, what you don't. And then one of the principles is honor yourself, right? So definitely honor yourself. If something is not comfortable, you don't have to do it at all. But in the spirit of connection, if you want to sort of take it to that, do that one little tiny step, you can do that. And fourth is own your experience. So we don't blame, we don't like it says, if I'm feeling angry, I don't say you are making me angry. It's about me, right? It's about my experience, and this is how I am feeling. So that's the whole skill. So this is where it sort of plays out in your, I think we do this a lot in our personal relationships, where we're like, you did this, or this is what you are doing, it's all because of you, right? And so this gives and that's the emotion, and so it gives you that ability or skill to frame that in a way where you say, this is what's happening to me as you do this, right? So, and that changes the way the other person receives it. So that's how it sort of changes your whole the relationship equation. And the last one is honor self and other. I think this is just an agreement of mutual respect, one of the primary things that we need for any human connection. So those are the 5 core principles and a little bit about authentic relating. I want to check if there's any questions or anything anyone wants to ask at this point.
So only thing I can say that it is nothing that all the 5 principles that we haven't read or we had seen everywhere. So it's just that people are not implementing, because it's like thing is everywhere. It's nothing new to read, and of course, but it's like people to whether they follow it or not, that's another thing.
Yeah, agree. I think a lot of it is very intuitive in that sense. And yeah, I think we kind of the struggle I think is in bringing that to application, like you said, in especially challenging situations, right? And places where it's not the normal thing to do, especially things like, let's say, welcome everything, right? And or assume nothing. I don't think we find even just those two things in all the spaces that we are in, like workplaces or even families, different dynamics. Yeah, like somebody was sharing in a video yesterday that I was watching, that as they were growing up, it wasn't okay to share the fact that you are upset or you're angry, and those emotions were not welcome in their home, right? And so that might be the case, that everyone is supposed to always be happy, or don't talk about those negative emotions or so-called negative emotions. So maybe there's not those spaces are not always found. But yeah, and so hopefully this creates that, where you find who you are, or how you want to operate, and then you can take that and create those kind of spaces wherever we go. All right, anything else? Okay, so just one last thing. Okay, just for today, some shared agreements. So one of the key things is no fixing, changing, or advising. As we play these games, as we interact with each other, one of the main things we do is that we are here to be present and just witness and reflect back. So we're not trying to change anybody, and this is something that is very hard. Like we've seen it as a practice. This also we see that it's so hard. We're so like, oh, I know this, I've been in this situation, I know how to fix it, I will tell you what to do, right? And the main thing is to not do that, to hold back. So stop yourself somehow from doing that, and we are here to just be present, and presence has a wonderful magic. I think people have all the answers within them, and it'll come to them, and to trust that, yeah. And if they do ask you for advice, that's fine, and you can check, I want to give you advice, is that something you want to receive right now? But today's games is not even about that, so um we will not go there. So yeah, there are certain contexts in which maybe advice is necessary and important, of course, but check if that's what the other person wants to get, right? And like I was saying, it's also a relational meditation practice. This is all about, and I think that's what also was really, really impressive for me. It's about, when you're on your meditation mat, it's all very nice, and you're just like being present with your own thoughts, and you're just being present there, and maybe you feel everything's okay. But it's when we go out into the world, we interact with different people, and that's where you find it really challenging to be present, to be welcoming, to be non-judgmental, and all of that. And so this is like someone was saying, this is yoga, right? Like you do yoga, and it's like this is our relational yoga here. So you do it in this space, and then you can, as you build that skill, you can take it into the real outer world. Okay, and then ways to show love. If you're resonating with something that someone said, you could do this. It's called twinkle fingers, or you do a hand over heart, use the reactions, any of that. And stay present. It's one of the key things. You stay present to what's happening. Invite yourself back. If you find yourself drifting off, just invite yourself back. And hopefully your cell phones are silent. And confidentiality by request. So inevitably, as we're saying, this is a brave space. People are going to share. We're hoping to create a space where people feel okay to share things. And so if you want, and if you're sharing things and you want that to be confidential, just ask for it. I mean, it's of course assume that uh, a lot of it will stay here. That's a general rule. But if you want something, just be explicit about it. If you feel, okay, I'm sharing this really vulnerable thing and I want this to be confidential, just mention that. Instead of assuming, just to make sure that it's honored, right? So that's about it. So that was my introduction part. Now we'll get into the good part, which is the games, because as much as I talk about authentic relating, you're like, it still feels like, okay, what is it exactly? How does it happen? But the games actually show you how it happens and what the magic is. So I think we should get into that.
Smitha, I think a wonderful explanation. Thank you. And as you were talking, I think a few people just joined. So if you want to just touch
Ah,
upon the five main core principles real quick.
sure, let me just share that quickly. Okay. So 5 core principles as you go into this session, welcome everything, your own internal experience and whatever the other person is bringing in. And assume nothing. Check if you have any assumptions. Don't assume, oh, somebody looks this way. Like somebody's turned their video off. Are they not interested? Check, check, is it something, what is happening? Are you distracted? Are you here? Are you not able to, whatever's happening in their life, you never know. So just as an example, just don't assume anything. Check assumptions and reveal your experience. We're saying this is a brave space. As much as you're comfortable, this is all about bringing up those things which we've probably thought this is not okay to be. It's not okay to be like this. It's not okay for me to operate like this. So those are the things we want to bring up here in the spirit of connection, because the more we are who we truly are, I think uh, that's what brings richer connections and more beautiful experiences for ourselves. So, and own your experience, take responsibility for what's happening in you instead of being in that blaming kind of a zone. And check if people want to hear how you were affected by their behavior and so on. Honor self and other is, of course, mutual respect. Honor yourself, share what's comfortable, and answer questions that are comfortable for you. Especially today's a curiosity is the theme. So it's about asking questions about what's happening with you and so on. So honor yourself, see what's comfortable for you and what you want to share. And of course, honor the other and what they want to receive from you. Yeah, and these are just some basic shared agreements. No fixing, changing, advising. It's about this process about being present and witnessing and reflecting back. And yeah, just stay present. And confidentiality by request is make sure you ask for confidentiality if you're going to share something vulnerable.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll get into a small, like a 4-5 minute meditation first, so that we all come into the present moment. Let's do that. Um, I'm going to pause my video for a bit now. You can do if you want. All right. You can sit comfortably. Okay, this meditation, I've learned this meditation from my teacher Nitya, and it's called 4210. So just sitting comfortably. You can keep your eyes open at this point. So let your attention wander. You can look at what is around you. Just notice what you're seeing and make a note of the different things you're seeing. Maybe you're indoors, maybe you're outdoors. What are some of the objects in your outer experience? Now, you can also notice the space within which all of these objects are appearing. So earlier we were only noticing the objects. Now we also notice that there's a space which holds these objects. So giving attention to that space, holding objects in our outer experience. Now you can close your eyes if you want and become aware of inner experience, which could be emotions, sensations in the body, thoughts, memories that are coming up, or maybe nothing in particular. So tune in and notice what's the inner experience like. What are the objects in your inner field? Now also notice that there is an inner space within which these objects of experience arise in the inner field. So become attentive to that inner space which holds all of your emotions, thoughts, sensations. There is an inner space within which all of this is happening. So paying attention to that inner space. So far we have outer objects and outer space, and we have inner objects and inner space. Now we will collapse the word inner and outer. So we'll just see that we have just objects and space. So notice that there's a continuity of space from inside to outside. Without the word inside or outside. So let there be just two things, objects and space. Objects or experience and space. Now we'll further collapse experience and space. There is something that's knowing both of them. There is something that knows or is conscious of space and is also conscious of the experience or the objects within that space. So come back to that unity, just the fact that something is conscious. So collapsing this duality to just coming to this consciousness. There is just consciousness. And now we come to zero, which is we ask ourselves, what is behind this consciousness? So this consciousness arose with birth. So what is behind this in this moment? What is prior to consciousness? And we don't try to find an answer to this. We just ask the question and just stay there. What is behind this consciousness? Now you can come back to consciousness, becoming conscious, become aware of experiences, objects in consciousness, and also become aware of the space. Now becoming aware of inside, outside, inner objects, outer objects, inner space, outer space. You can take a deep breath. And slowly open your eyes. So that was a beautiful, simple journey back to our source. All right. So anyone wants to share anything before we get into the games? Any questions, anything at all?
So honestly speaking, I mean, I was not able to follow that whole thing. So I try my best to
That's
do
fine.
whatever comes to my mind. Because I'm not a meditation practitioner, so I don't follow like inner thing, outer thing, space, and like I tried my best, but yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah,
Whatever.
I keep my eyes closed and so that I whatever I can follow, I did.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I should be reaching. Did I
Nowhere.
reach there or
Here,
not?
here is the goal.
Yeah.
You're trying to reach here. So whatever you did is perfect. So there's no, yeah, the only thing we're trying to do with this is, you're trying to become aware of everything in your like outer, inner, all of that, right? Like even if you got to that point, that's perfect. It just because we're so lost in our stories and things that we're thinking about what we have to do and all of that. This was simply a way to just come here, and that's about it. All right. So now so the theme for today is curiosity. So I have two games. I know we're through half an hour, so we have 1 more hour. So we'll see how it goes and how much time we have. I think first we'll do a group. I want to know how many of you are familiar with or have played authentic relating games before. You can give me a thumbs up, or if you're on video, or some reaction. Okay, some of you have. Okay. All right. So the first game we'll do, let's do a group game. So let's see how many of us are there. We are 19. So maybe I'll do groups of 5, and we'll do something it's called Pandora's box. So the theme is curiosity. So it's about noticing and putting attention on, again, somehow meditation was connected to this. So attention on what arises around us, as well as what is it that we are curious about, right? So there are 4 questions we will do, and then we'll go around the circle or whatever. There's no circle here, but yeah, the 5 people in your group, for example, 4 or 5 people, we'll see how we split it. But you say each person gets to answer this question. For example, in round 1, I say, inside of me, I notice, right? So that's you can call it a sentence stem or a prompt. So inside of me, I notice. So I could say, inside of me, I notice that I just took a deep breath, right? Like, and I'm noticing that I was not actually breathing very deeply right now. So that's something that's going on within me. Or you could speak to some emotion inside of me. I notice that I'm feeling a little restless right now, right? Something like that. So each person goes around and shares something that's going on inside of them. And you do this twice. So everyone gets to answer this question twice. And then outside, and the second round is outside of me, I notice. Don't worry about remembering this. I'm going to post it in that chat as well. And round 3 is, if you really knew me, you would be curious about, right? And what is it that people would be curious about? And round 4 is, to really know me, it is important that you are curious about. So one is, I'm saying, if you really knew me, this is what you would ask me about. And second is, and to really know me, and this is what you need to ask me. This is what I'm wanting to be asked, right? I hope you would ask me about this. So those are the 4 things. And so we'll go around, each person answers this. You go around the circle twice, right? So 2 times each. And so you'll have like a good 25 minutes for this in your group. And somebody, if you find, I'm going to try and put somebody who's played authentic relating games in each group. Let's see how it goes. So hopefully they'll have an idea of how this works. So we do this and then we come back and we'll share what was our experience, what was our impact. Is that clear? Any questions? Let me paste this.
That's clear. Thank you. And do you want to stop recording now?
Yes.
Yep. Can you also, Smitha, can we let Prity say 1 minute? Because next week.
Yeah. No, that's why I wanted to start the recording, so people who access the recording will be able to also hear, those who are not here. So yes, firstly, thank you so much everyone for joining. And yeah, like I was saying, it's beautiful how what this modality can do. It's not meant to be therapy, they say, but it's so therapeutic in itself. And for some reason, it's very healing, and it's very, I think, giving us, creating these spaces, and these spaces where we can just be ourselves and experience this human connection is something that's in itself healing and transformative. I think that's why this thing works so well. And yeah, so thank you for joining. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to present this to you. And we will do more sessions of this, of course. So, and I think many of you brought up this sense of community. They do say that this is one of the key things that helps in community building, because I think these are essential skills of connection. And this builds incredible connections like we're seeing. And so, which is important for community. So it is definitely a big aspect of building community. And so also why Puneet, Shubhra, and I want to keep this here. So as we are building this community together. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say. And then, yes, Prity Mistry will be having the session next Sunday. I'll let her speak a little bit about it. And then we are also having, after that, we'll have Shubhra do her art session, and we'll come up with a calendar for May of what sessions we're doing. The general idea right now we have is, I know Anamika had offered also to have some session. Anamika will reach out to you. So the plan is that Shubhra, me, and Puneet do one session each, and we'll have somebody like a guest or whatever, right? Like we'll have someone come in and do another session of. We have all this amazing community of like people we know who have so much to offer. So we also want to bring that in. So that's our plan for now. So yeah, the next Sunday is Prity Mistri's session. Prity, you want to share a little bit about what you will be offering?
Yeah, sure. So I just had a talk with Shubhra and asked her, what would you like? So with me, it is people ask me, can you do this? And I said, yes, let's do this. So this is the time we are going to do younger me healing, basically why me, or you can call it inner child healing. It's not about just getting into your inner child space. It's also getting into your younger me space. We were all younger and are back also, So it's what's running through the mind and accessing it and kind of reviewing it, right? So in this, I'll be sharing the first simplest technique about inner child journaling. And let's see what comes up for each one of us, right? Because that's where the wisdom lies. That's where we realize what are we still holding on to unconsciously. We may not be conscious about, oh, this is still lying in my subconscious. Oh, this is still affecting me in ways that I'm not even aware of. Like I can share one example about myself. When I was a few years ago, when I was doing my own younger me or inner child healing, one of the things that came up was it was a very absolutely stupid incident. Okay, it doesn't have to be big. It's just simple. I guess I may have been some 4 or 5 years old and had gone with my parents to temple, और वो तीर्थ पे जाते हैं हमारे यहाँ गुजरात में राजकोट में जलाराम बापा का टेम्पल है वहां पे धर्मशाला भी. I hope everybody understands Hindi. Is that okay?
Yeah, I think, I don't know.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So we had gone to that place, and apparently my family and family friends, I mean, 2 families had gone. And I was quite small, 4 or 5 years old. Okay, it's a really kid. So early morning, I wake up probably 3 or 4 o'clock. My eyes just open and I can't see my mom or my dad near me. My brother was there, but mom and dad were not near me. Apparently, the elders had just woken up early to get dressed for the darshan. Okay, while the kids were sleeping. That is a small thing. As a parent, I understand. But as a kid, it was like, oh my God, my parents abandoned me. So it's something very small and minute, but that feeling stayed with that little child. And what that brought on for me throughout my life till I healed it was I had always been a light sleeper. Even a slight movement would wake me up. That light a sleeper. And I would get a good sleep only in my bed, kind of a thing, only in my space, and the side of the bed that I sleep. So these are very small things. But for that little child, it was a big thing because that was a trauma. Oh my God, my parents abandoned me. But it was nothing, but they are just getting ready for the darshan while the kids are sleeping. That's it. So it can be very, something that you wouldn't even think about right now, but it has affected somewhere. Like after I healed myself, I'm telling you, I sleep like a log, literally like a log. I don't know what's happening around. So that's the shift that's happened for me. So there have been a lot of things, lot of such small things, big things. See, life is lived in small moments, is what I have learned. How we are in the smallest of things is that same attitude we carry in bigger things.
True.
So it's just an opening, just an introduction for you to get in touch with your inner child or the younger you and embrace that feeling that you had at that point of time, that it is all right to feel that way. It is natural. And embrace the little child and give reassurance to that younger you that it's okay, I'm here for you.
Yeah, perfect.
It's you being there for you. That's it.
Yeah. No, that's a great introduction or sneak
Yeah.
peek into the what's coming.
Yeah. So I hope that made sense.
No,
Okay.
totally perfect sense. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
That was beautiful,
And
Prity. And
Thank you.
Prity, do you want to add?
Yeah.
I know from our conversation that you want people to have some art, supplies or a journal or something. We will probably cut this part out.
Yeah, let's
And
put.
share
I
your
think we'll
video.
share it in the bigger group, so we don't know if everyone's going to get to this point.
I was
Sure,
going to
sure.
record, like we will cut this video part out and put it there. She spoke about it.
Yeah. Or
Okay,
Prity,
so-
you can even share something separate as well in the group as to what they
Yeah.
need to bring. That so we'll share more details about that.
Yeah.
That's just simple, just something to write with. Pen and paper or pen and book is just for you to kind of make a note of it. And
Okay.
if the child in you wants to express itself with colors, feel free to do so. That's fine. Whatever medium you want to use, please use. There's no restrictions. There are no rules. There is no, this has to go like this has to go like this. Nothing.
Okay.
It's just you and you. That's it.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
So we will share more in this coming week about the session on Sunday. Prity will put up Prity, you can put up a flyer or a poster. We'll discuss that. So yeah, look forward to that next Sunday, and we'll share what's coming up in May. And I know we're over 10 minutes. Thank you for staying on. Don't want to keep people much longer. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for coming here.
Thank you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you,
to
thank you,
all of
thank you.
you.
Lots of
It was-
love to you.
It was
Mayur,
wonderful.
Thank you.
Have a nice day,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye.